Welcome everyone to We the People, a new birth of freedom. I really appreciate you stopping by, and if you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, the like, the dislike icon. Tell everyone that you can. We're trying to get the message of freedom out. Well, let me begin this video by saying that I'm sure that much of the content of my videos is not going to make the most popular list at the top anyway, and that's okay. These videos are not designed, and my motive or my agenda is not to become the most popular YouTuber on the planet. But I assure you, I will do my best to tell you the truth. You know, I read an adage or a saying many years ago. It went like this: there is nothing so powerful as truth, and often nothing so strange. In the time, the society, the world that we live in, truth is rare. For the most part, politicians are not concerned about telling you the truth. They focus on generalities, generic ideas, disguised, camouflaged by personal agendas. Truth is not relevant to them. It has no meaning. Because if you tell someone the truth and then you change that or distract from that or deny that, then you're going to be called a liar. So politicians are very careful how they place their words, how they formulate their words, so they can justify any changes accordingly. In fact, one of the common political responses to should a politician be asked the question, well, I thought you said this, and now you're saying this. Well, the common justification is, well, I was working off of the information I had at that time. Oh, okay. I'm not saying that maybe in the widest stretch of imagination, there may be a kernel of truth there, but they use that to hide behind their lies. Well, I was working off of the information I had at the time. Okay. All righty. But truth stands alone. Truth is absolute. And I know that's certainly a dirty word in today's political society. Absolute? Are you kidding? There are no absolutes, really. Well, I ask you to take a trip to the cemetery and tell me that death is not absolute. Go into the hospitals where people are moaning and screaming and groaning under the intensity of pain as their body is eaten up with cancer, and tell me that their pain, their anguish, their sorrow is not absolute. Walk in there with your bullshit philosophy of no absolutes and convince them that it's all in their mind. Okay. Truth stands alone. Real truth is infallible. Real truth is founded. It has its origin in the laws of nature and nature's God. Let me give you an infallible law of nature. Okay, so we have a farmer. He goes out and he spends the best that he has on the most technological equipment. The best quality of farming machinery that money can buy. He purchases the best of seed, and he takes all of this technology and all of his knowledge of farming, and he goes out and prepares his field to the highest level of farming science and technology. And then he stands back and he says, wow, that looks good. I am really a good farmer. So then he reaches over and he grabs the seed that he purchased, the best that money can buy, loads it up, takes it out and spreads it over his field. Once again, he sits back and says, now that is quality farming. Harvest time comes around. He starts to look at the crop that's manifesting itself and he says, what the hell is going on here? He looks again. He goes and gets his wife and he says, what the hell's going on here? And she says, what do you mean? He says, well, that's corn. That's corn coming up. And she says, well, of course it's corn. He says, but I planted beans. And this is corn. She says, no, you thought you planted beans, but you planted corn. That's why you got corn. So there's a infallible law of sowing and reaping. And it's according to the laws of nature, and nature's God. Now, the farmer didn't go out there and say, okay, I prepared my field, and he gathered maybe the Republican Party or the political party or the Libertarian Party and said, okay, I want you guys to vote on, I planted seed in the ground, and I want you to vote on what that seed is going to give me in the time of harvest. And so maybe the Republican Party said, well, I think it's going to be blueberries. And the Democratic Party said, no, I think it's going to be strawberries. And the Libertarian Party said, no, I think it's going to be pears. He says, no, I want beans. And so as a consensus and being politically kind to one another, they decide by consensus, okay, it'll be beans. But here the farmer is looking at corn. And his little simple wife, she says, you got corn because you planted corn. No. You don't, woman, you don't understand, you see. I got the political parties together. We voted on this. We came to a consensus politically that it was going to be beans. There was a little disagreement at first, but we came to a political consensus that I was going to harvest beans. And there is corn, and I don't understand. So she says, here, there's a simple way to solve this problem, this dilemma. Let's go back to the barn, and let's check the origin, the source of what type of seed it is. So they go back to the barn. The farmer looks at the containers that the seed came in. Sure enough, it says corn. Because see, there's a law of sowing and reaping. Whatever you plant, whatever you sow, you're going to reap. If you think that you can plant pear seed and get mulberries, it's not going to happen. I don't care what kind of political legislation, I don't care what the Supreme Court says, I don't care what the political party and consensus decides. Doesn't matter what the military says, what the police say. Doesn't matter what the local church says. If you plant corn, my friend, you're going to get corn. And if you expect anything else, well, you're pretty much batshit crazy. So what's happened in our world is they have continued for decades and decades and decades and decades and decades to sow seed. Now, it started out good, even though it wasn't perfect, but our founding fathers gave us the seed bag. It's contained in the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, the Bill of Rights. They gave us the seed bag. Wasn't perfect at first as far as they weren't able to prepare the soil properly at first in all occasions, but they had the right seed. And they told us what to expect if we follow their vision, plant the right seed in the preamble to the Declaration of Independence and the preamble to the Constitution, it tells us what type of harvest we will reap. But within just a short amount of time, the Democrats begin to sow their seed, the Republican Party was formed, and they begin to sow their seed, and they keep wondering why we can't get the vision of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness and justice according to the vision of our founding fathers. It's because they threw those seed bags aside, and they grabbed another seed bag. Socialism, communism, fascism, Nazism, plain stupidity. And now the harvest is coming up, and they're wondering, wait a minute, what the hell is going on here? Hey, I'll continue this in the next video. Until next time, God bless, and be a true American.